Today I'm going to show you how to crackle on a frame. So what we've done here is we base coated our frame in a mix of black brown, we call it. It's 5 parts, bittersweet, 1 part black. So it gives us a nice deep rich black brown, as we call it. Once that's dried, I've applied a coat of our Crackle medium over top. The Crackle medium that I used is the Americana Decor Crackle medium. It's perfect Crackle medium. It works every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm using a bristle fan brush, and I'm going to be applying a lot of paint as I go. I'm picking up neutral gray, and I apply the paint on heavy. When you're doing crackling, you don't want to go back over an area, and now picking up cobblestone, the 2 colors, and I'm just going to mix as I go. So I can pick up both paints at the same time. It needs to go on heavy. The direction that I pull my brush in is the direction that my cracks are going to go. So I tend to put it on in what I call a slip-slap direction. I got to get in these little grooves here so I'm going to have some sections appear to be a little more in the gray, and other sections are going to appear to be a little more in the cobblestone. If you will paint back over top of where you go, what happens is the crackle is starting underneath as we go. We don't see it, but if I continue to go back over top of that area, I'm filling in those cracks that are underneath that are happening. So we always want to just apply a nice thick coat of paint in one direction or area only. Don't go back into that area. Doesn't mean I can't quickly slap into an area that I'm working on and not get paint just touching over another spot that I didn't do. It's just don't repaint back over an area. You're going to go through a lot of paint. I can see up here I've got a ridge of paint built up against my trim, so I'll go in there while I can, and it's still wet. I'm going to do the sides of the frame as well. I'll just pull this over so you can see. This edge may appear to be a little more of the cobblestone. And again, I've picked up neutral gray at the same time with it. I'll come up the edges. I am going to antique this frame afterwards. I need more paint again. So you do need to have a fair bit of paint out. Don't be chintzy with it. I'm using the cobblestone, Americana cobblestone, and neutral gray. These are colors that I used in my photo, or my picture that's going to go inside this frame. So that's why I chose them. They're very neutral as well, so anything goes with this. So they're a perfect kind of color that would apply to everybody and go with any painting. Okay, so that's not too shabby. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint the sides as well, so you can see that the crackling is starting. And if I wanted bigger crackles, I could hit it with the blow dryer and they will crackle faster and they'll be bigger. So if that's what you're looking for, you can do that with a, like I say, with a blow dryer. I'm going to paint the sides. The thicker the paint, the nicer the crackles. Don't be skimpy with your top coat of paint. That's the one that makes the difference. I'm going to turn it around so I can get the other sides of this frame. And the places that I couldn't see from this side as well. So you see all that crackling happening, and it's quite neat. So this is, I'll be back with the antiquing next. So I'm back to antique on my frame. So I'm taking blending gel or stain antiquing medium, canvas gel, even extender. That all works for doing this antiquing. So it makes it so it's easy to wipe off and remove what you don't want. I'm just taking a tip brush, just those cheap old brushes that work wonders for all kinds of things. So I'm going to put this on, apply it over the entire frame, down my sides and everywhere. I don't have to panic that you don't want to leave it on for hours or anything like that, but I'm not having to freak out and try to get this done right away. And I'll do on my sides as well. And you can use paper towels or a cloth rag, whatever you like. So I've got that on, and now I'm just going to take and I'm going to wipe back. And it tones the whole thing down, gives it a nice antique-y look. I like to leave it a little heavier and darker in the corners. This is what I did on the frame for my chickadee window. So you see how it just certainly gives that old antique look. And I'm going to wipe around my outer edges, taking off the excess. And that's that. Now, because I use a gel like this has to sit for a few days before it can be varnished. So, and anywhere you feel like, if you thought, I'd like to take that back a little bit, I don't want it quite as dark as that, I could take just a little bit of gel, put it on my towel, and come back in and say, okay, there's my gel. See how I could have a cleaner towel. See how that'll just take back a little of it. So it's totally up to you. I like the dirty antique-y look, but that antiques it really nicely so that you see the look that it has. Gives that nice old antique look, and it looks like an old piece. That's what we like. We don't want anything to ever look the same. I've got a little topper here that's going to get the same treatment. So I'll just come in here, wipe that down, and just wipe it back. We're going to stencil a welcome on this later. And almost cracked, and it looks like letters in the middle, the way the crackle went. But it's lovely. It's antiqued. It gives it a nice look. It didn't have to be antiqued. You can leave it just crackled. But I just like that extra step. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed doing our antiquing and crackling. Thanks for joining me.